first time you got that box overnight when you're expecting it in 4 to 5 days. Like, and you're like, I just ordered this 8 hours ago and it's on my front door. So we think about like, how do we create that wow online? And that's, I think, one of our favorite things. Like that instant, and that's hard these days in just a website or an app, right? There's a couple apps that I think like, and I think some of the consumer-facing apps, like, even for something like Instagram, I love Instagram, it doesn't necessarily create an immediate wow, but it's beautiful, it's easy to use, it's fast, so like, there is that wow, and it's why you keep using it. Like, why don't you guys shut up? When was the last time you guys used a website or an app that you're like, wow, that was awesome?
Poshmark.
Poshmark is, there's so much stuff on there, and it's like, I had no idea I could buy, and that wow was actually through good merchandising too. Like, I had no idea I could get a $500 Chanel bag for $100. Like, wow, that's awesome. And it's tough from a Zappos brand. I'm not sure if you guys push the discount angle, but we just try never to wow with sales and discounts. It's like, as a retailer, it's such a slippery slope drug. You'll never get off it once you stop it. Because the moment you start wowing customers with sales, you become Walmart, and it's really hard to compete against Walmart. Like, you know what, Walmart is probably always going to have cheaper tampons than you guys, right?
I don't know.
Oh, so maybe. So if there's some, and so that's it, right? So how do you wow your customer? You can wow them with amazing service. You can wow them with price. But if you're going to wow them with price, you need to make sure it's sustainable. That you can build a company on undercutting Walmart or Amazon, which is freaking hard because at their scale. So, but some people are trying to think, I'm gonna wow them through price by reinventing supply chain. And I've actually talked to a couple of people who are trying to rethink supply chain. And that's a really interesting way to do it, right? We're going to wow them with back-end supply chain technology. Or, you know, I'm going to wow them with pitching Made in America. You know, I'm going to wow our customers by making them feel good that the jeans they just bought were Made in America. And, you know, that's something maybe Amazon or Walmart aren't going to focus on in the short term. They'll sure have lines of that. But if you can be a brand that wows them with hitting that thing that they care about, Made in America, creating jobs, or something like that, right? I think that's all. What else would you want to talk about?
Do you have representatives speaking different languages?
No. So we used to have Spanish. For whatever reason, we stopped. I don't know if it just wasn't being used enough. So it's interesting, I think, like if someone calls and they only speak Spanish, like you'll sometimes see a call center person stand up, anyone speak Spanish here? It's very old school tech. But we used to have a dedicated line. I'm not sure why we stopped. I'm just assuming we stopped because it wasn't used very much.
But the rest is so international, there are so many different nationalities.
Yeah, and part of it is, yeah, I don't know.
It could also be handled via
States.
email, just where mobile is so high within the Latino community.
Yeah, and we definitely do stuff over email, and I think if someone has, you know, a little bit trouble in English over email, it might be we can, you know, try online translate it or something like that. I'm sure it's a problem every now and then, but I haven't heard of it being a problem scale.
So you touched a little bit on social commerce.
Yep.
What are sort of the key learnings that you guys have had here on your social commerce experiments as to why it works with certain companies but not with others?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. It's like, it's tough when you try, because like I was talking about with Meg, who's from Twilio, and like our core demographic is, you know, a little bit older, like I don't know exactly, so it's probably like 35 to 55 is our core demo. And you know, obviously we sell a lot, so you know, we sell to all types of customers, but like those are, you know, those are great customers, buying for their households, etc. And I wouldn't say they're social because I'm sure, and female as well. And I wouldn't say they're not social because I'm sure they're all on Facebook. And I'm sure a lot of them are on Instagram. But I think that demographic's interesting because when they're on Facebook and then they want to shop, they do not want a social experience. At least today. At scale. They just want to find that jeans for their kids, get her. And you know, it's that demographic is also super busy. So I think it's tough because our core demo isn't looking social, so when we try and push social, it feels just a little disjointed. So one of the things we try and do is like, let's just create a microsite again and try and target it at younger people. And then we know it's not going to be for 100% of customers, and that's totally cool. But can we create an experience? For example, like if we create an experience that's amazing for 1% of our customers, we can show it's like a growing segment, it'd be worth us. So That's tough, but I think it's a great investment from the Zappos perspective. Like, it's cool that they tell us, if you guys want to focus on a younger demo, go for it. Because we're luckily not just gauged on only sales.
What are your like international plans?
None. To my knowledge, and again, I'm not
Is
privy
there
to
a
all
reason
of
for that?
Yeah, so I think the biggest reason is international is really hard. We used to sell in Canada, which, I'm Canadian, so I think that was great. And we stopped because, like, our value prop, great selection, fast delivery, is so hard to do international. Like, for example, like, when stuff gets stuck in customs, like, I'll give you one example. I just got married, and I had to send a bunch of dress shirts to my groomsmen who were up in Vancouver. So I ordered on express.com, and I'm like, oh great, they have a Canada option. So it was 4 white dress shirts that I think was just total $200. And it was like shipped to Canada, $112 in shipping. And 2 to 4 weeks. And it was like, it's so crazy that the logistics, and Amazon has it pretty good, but even if you have a warehouse in Canada, like for example, we'll sign a deal with a certain brand, and I'll just use Uggs, I don't know if it's specific with Uggs, but Uggs says, you can sell our stuff, but you can't sell it in Canada because we already have exclusive distribution contracts in Canada. So that's also a weird experience. You come to Zappos.com, you add Uggs to your cart, you check out, you choose a Canadian address, it shoots you to Zappos.ca, and it disappears from your cart. And obviously there's ways you can miss it. It's a little unsatisfying, so we stopped. And I think, like, the international market's huge, especially China right now. There's so much talk about China. In the equivalent of Cyber Monday in China last year, in one day, the 2 big e-commerce giants did $3 billion in revenue in one day. $3 billion! Like, how nuts is that, right? Like, we talk about, like, Zappos is happy to be, like, where we're at. So it's a huge market, but I think where we think about is, whereas, like, domestic online, it's an apparel. We throw stats around, like there's different stats you'll hear, but like 9 to 13% of apparel sales, which is obviously a huge market, is online. The rest is brick and mortar. So I think there's a lot of things that'll bridge that brick and mortar gap. Some of it is just convenience, some of it is just people getting used to it, some of it's technology. I think a lot of people, I've talked to tons of startups in the trying virtual fit space. That might bridge some of it, but so I think there's still so much room in the domestic market. I think where we'll get international eventually, maybe. Like Amazon's good at international. What's crazy is I also heard like something like 90 days after Amazon launched in the 90s, they were in like 10 countries. I don't know, but pretty smart. And what else? If there's nothing else, like we can kind of break up and feel free, like if any of you wanted like office hours with a certain person and they might be booked up, feel free to just hang out. There's guest passwords all over the place. We're just meet each other, mingle, help us up to snacks, beers. There's no other questions, we'll just kind of, yeah.
And you might have covered this earlier, but what are the primary technologies that you guys use in terms of front end, back end?
Yep. So the Zappos main site is a big, heavy Java stack. And I think like kind of, built in mid-2000s and like a lot of older sites. It scales really well, but it's hard to be agile. This team in particular, we do everything on Rails. And different backends, and we actually were the first team in Zappos to be, we host our stuff in EC2 as well. So we try to be very start of the year, EC2, and not just EC2 because Amazon owns us, but I'm sure if you guys work at startups, you guys probably EC2 is super convenient, flexible. Rails is great. We've tried different databases like MySQL. We have something in Mongo. But yeah, in Zappos, it's pretty actually, Zappos corporate I think is mainly Java and MySQL database still for the operational side. I think our data warehouse is Sure, what do you do?
Oh, well, I run my own boutique shop. Actually,
Okay.
but,
Like a brick and mortar boutique shop?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Boutique is in like consulting boutique. I
Okay.
work product development, launches, and then help them with the marketing and partnerships.
Oh,
But,
great.
yeah.
Well,
Thanks.
any questions? So feel free to
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We're going to